Gene Sherrard here. Welcome to this week's installment of our online-only feature, Seattle Now and Then 360. Here's Clay Eals with the story.
A fairy tale with a happy ending for Alki. To the dogged and detailed volunteer researcher Phil Hoffman, the idyllic calm of our sunset scene, which looks west from Alki Beach, might be deceptive. Waves ready to roil in the foreground could be a more potent symbol. And this, he says, is because while history usually records what happened, sometimes what didn't happen is more important. Our then photo depicts a ferry dock extending into Puget Sound from Alki Avenue, north of 64th Avenue Southwest, in West Seattle. From there, entrepreneur Harry Crosby's direct line ferries opened 65-car service to tiny Manchester, east of Port Orchard in South Kitsap County, on April 20th, 1925. 13 months later, Crosby sold it to Puget Sound Navigation Company, parent of the famed Blackball Line, whose network represented the last vestiges of the Sound's fabled mosquito fleet before it gave way in 1951 to our state ferry system. Alki to Manchester was the shortest distance between Seattle and the Kitsap mainland, so the new terminal in 1925 exploited the soaring popularity of automobiles by launching countless excursions, 85 cents one way for cars, to the tantalizing Olympic Peninsula. Ads featured exotic illustrations and cartoon maps that likened the route to a suspension bridge. One even invoked an irresistible pun. "There's a fairyland across the blue waters of Puget Sound," it proclaimed in the May 23, 1930 Seattle Times. "A vacation land unrivaled anywhere in the world, unspoiled, primitive yet livable, and very accessible." It was no accident that the Alki-Manchester route, inaugurated in the Roaring '20s, died amid the Great Depression on January 13, 1936. The cause was not just a national economic collapse. The line also fell victim to ongoing disputes with marine unions, as well as initiation by the consolidated-minded Blackball of a new ferry between downtown Seattle and Manchester the previous July. The West Seattle Commercial Club scurried to promulgate a scheme to convert to a state highway the arterial that circumnavigated Duwamish Head to the closed ferry dock, to no avail. The dock operated as a boathouse for several years and briefly hosted an eatery, Seafood's First Mate Grill, in 1941. But by 1946, all that remained was its pilings. Which is fine with Hoffman, who lives 500 feet from the dock site. Though flooded with partiers in the summer, present-day Alki is sleepy, even bucolic most of the year. It would be a very different place if that ferry had continued through today, Hoffman says. It would be a parking lot. The car would have consumed the land, the natural resources of the beach, and the desirable residential aspects of the area. Today's waves of Alki might be murmuring a sigh of relief. Missing its lower left corner, our then photo, undated, looks west at the Alki-Manchester ferry dock. As determined by Southwest Seattle Historical Society volunteer researchers Phil Hoffman and Bob Carney, it likely was taken in the late 1930s after ferry service at the dock ended. In our now photo, Phil Hoffman stands just east of the site of the former Alki-Manchester ferry dock, whose pilings peek out of the low-tide surf behind him to his right. You can see Hoffman's prolific research articles on all topics Alki, including the Alki to Manchester ferry, at alkihistoryproject.com.